Hi, Julie. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Haley. Thanks for asking.
I'm so glad you were able to come on today. I'm really excited to share your particular transformation. I think it's going to be really impactful for the listeners and for anyone who is struggling with the scale. So we're going to get into that in a minute, but I do have a couple other questions before to kind of like set the stage before we get into that. So can you just say your name, something about yourself?
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Julie, and I am a newly retired individual. My husband and I retired a year ago, and so we've gone through our first year of retirement happily and uh, looking forward to what it brings for us later.
That's awesome. So, what what inspired you to sign up for the program in the first place?
Always weight from little on, and you get the typical responses from family members of, oh, you'd be so pretty if you lost weight, or you just need to lose weight. So that kind of always plays with you here. So throughout my life, I have done a yo-yo effect with my weight, always a little overweight, never comfortable in my weight, tried many diet routines, over the years. And when fast, right? Metabolism is when you're younger, but then I would stop doing the routine of whatever that diet required, and then I go right back up slowly. But I would slowly go back up, and sometimes I would go higher than I was. Sometimes I would stay a little lower. It just depended. So it was that yo-yo dieting of the thing, and as I've gotten older, it's gotten harder to lose weight. It's also showing, a little bit in my blood work, and that's a concern that I have. And so I knew another diet wasn't going to work because I've been struggling for what's going to work. And then it plays in the head, if I'm a failure, I've done this, I've done that. And then I saw this, what you were offering, and I thought, well, I don't know much about it, but let's talk to Hayley and see what it's all about. And we had our conversation, and it made sense to me that it wasn't. Don't think about it as a diet. Think about reprogramming the brain that is, the primitive brain that's trying to convince me that I should eat and that it's okay, and I can control it for a while before with diets, but then it would always come back. So that prompted me because I was kind of at a low of, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And, I just thought I need to get a hold of it. And so it made sense after our conversation. It made sense. And it certainly has continued to make sense as we've been meeting and talking for our time together.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. And that your journey of like doing the diets, feeling terrible about yourself once they end or once like you stop participating in it. It's just what I hear over and over again. It's just like more proof that that's really not the path that we're meant to take for weight loss. It doesn't work.
Doesn't.
It
And
does.
it does for a
It
period of
does.
time, right? If you
Yeah.
can be dedicated to that, but then it stops, and in my case, I go back. I didn't learn anything new from it. And that was my problem. I needed to learn something new so that I can continue this.
Yes. Yeah, and I think for you especially, moving into these retirement years, like you really want to enjoy these years. You don't want to spend them thinking about like what list of foods can I have and not have, and what kind of, it's that mental battle that you get sucked into and you kind of like miss out on the rest of your life.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so how much weight have you lost since you joined?
12 pounds.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I'm proud of my 12 pounds. If I had told you 5 pounds, I've been proud of that too. But 12 pounds. I'm very excited about that.
That's really exciting. Congratulations. Good work.
Thanks. I know it's not going to be something that I'm going to drop really fast. I mean, that was hard in the beginning. We had those conversations towards like, why isn't it coming off? Well, now I'm just content to be, you know, every little bit makes a difference. You go down half a pound, you go down to half a pound, that's great, and not worry about, well, before I would have been down 5 pounds and I did worry about that in the beginning, but not now. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah. And losing it in a way that works for you and is comfortable for you.
Right. I think that that's going to help me in the long run keep it off.
Yes. 100%. 100%. It's about you are like learning the foundational skills of what this new eating for this new weight is, and teaching your brain like this is what we do now, and really getting to this place where that just becomes who you are. There is no like old Julie who, you know, yo-yo dieted. Like it's just like, no, this is how much I eat. This is where I'm comfortable. I get to We've talked a lot about like your experiences going to buffets and not feeling like you needed to like get seconds or overdo it, and like yeah, getting to that place where that's just who Julie is.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation before I went because I worried about that buffet. I knew it was coming. I knew there'd be two that day, lunch and because it was an all day event, lunch and dinner. And I thought, how am I going to get through this? Um, and I did.
Yeah.
I think it was just that buildup of worry. So next buffet that comes my way, I won't have that worry.
Yes. How did you get through it? Tell us like what was your mindset going into it? What was your mindset during it?
Well, not knowing, not being able to prepare what it was, knowing there'd be a lot of food, I just thought, okay, what do I want to stick with? I want to stay away from the carbs because I know those fill me up fast and do me no good, kind of stuff. And so I was looking at vegetables and fruit and protein. And this buffet actually was really wonderful. They had it to where, it was grilled, not fried foods. It was fresh beautiful vegetables that they did perfectly, and the fruit was cut up. It was in California. I was visiting my brother, so they had a lot of fresh food there, and so that made it easy for me. And so I kept to that, and I also kept to that if I didn't take enough on my plate to meet my satiety level, that I could go back and get a little bit more since it was a buffet, which I didn't do. But I felt like, okay, don't take too much at first, take it slow and see how it goes with that. And that worked out really well. And I even got, because they had little squares, little petty fours of cake and stuff. So I took one of those, and that fit into that day for me. It gave me just, a small little bite of sweet, which I wanted. And that was perfect, so that's what I looked at. Because you're standing in a buffet line and you're looking down that line and you're thinking, okay, I'm preparing where I couldn't do it before. I'm preparing now. This is what they have. This is what I'll take, as I was doing beforehand. So that was my way of handling that day with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So you made a plan ahead of time, like to the best of your ability, and set some things that you wanted to stick to. And then kind of once you got there, it was like, okay, these are the foods that are going to help me feel good afterwards, and this is how I want to feel. And yeah.
and that worked for me for that day. That was really good because it was a long day. And it wasn't just one meal, it was two. And I was just like, oh, that's two things at once. But it worked, and I was content. So
Yeah. Oh, that's such a big win, and I bet that felt really good to come
it
out.
it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I can do it. You walk away from a buffet going, I can do it. And I don't feel like I ate too much. I don't feel so full that it hurts. It was like great. So yeah, I felt really good.
Oh, I love that so much. And yeah, that's again just that like whereas if you had gone into that kind of with the diet mindset, it would have been like white knuckling, like okay, just like don't look at it, or like don't, just don't put it on your plate. Just don't do it. Like, just like that kind of like really tense feeling that,
And it's like, I can't have that. I'm not supposed to have that, and that makes you feel bad, but I don't have to worry about it. If I wanted that piece of dessert, and they're small, I thought, well, I could do that. That would be nice. I was also thinking if they had bigger desserts, because I would just take a bite of my husband's, but I got my own. So, that was good. It's a small one. So
yeah, yeah, it worked out perfectly. They were prepared for you.
yeah. That was nice of them.
Yeah, it was. They were like, Julie's coming. Let's make these little mini
That's
desserts.
right.
Okay, so the reason that I wanted to have you on today, we had a coaching session, I think it was last week, and you talked about our overall in general, our relationship with the scale. It comes up a lot with everybody because I do ask everybody in the program to weigh in regularly, like daily. And people are like, but I don't have to do that, right? Like, I don't want to do this. We kind of have this idea that the scale is causing our feelings. It's causing us to feel terrible or, disappointed or frustrated, whatever is coming up for us when we see that number that we are creating with our thoughts. We think it's really the scale that's doing it. And so sometimes, like in the actual program itself, I kind of just leave it. Like it's like you're weighing in, and whatever comes up is going to come up. But I don't think you and I ever really coached on the scale. You kind of maybe heard me coach some other people about the scale and just kind of created your own relationship with the scale, like for yourself. Like you did that on your own. So I would love to hear like what was your relationship with the scale like before? What did you face like when you started weighing in on a regular basis, and how did you tell me this whole, I want to hear then like this whole story about like you creating this relationship with the scale.
Well, I've always had a relationship with the scale, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but mostly, you had said early on, the scale is a tool. That's what it is. That's why weighing in every day is important. You need to see where you're at and what you're doing. And when I was working a diet plan before, I was losing weight, and doing well. The scale was like my happy place, right? It was a
Yeah,
great thing. You get on a scale every morning, it's like, yeah, you did good. And
yeah,
then when I would stop losing weight and gaining things back, then I would avoid the scale. And maybe once a month I go, I guess I need to stand on this scale, and see where I'm at. And then it would make me feel horrible and I wouldn't do anything. So I've had a love-hate relationship with the scale, but you know, it's a tool when you're, I used it as a tool when I was losing weight, and then I didn't because I avoided it, right? But working with you and hearing you say it's a tool, it's just another tool in our box that we have that we need to use. We need to know how we're doing. So, every day I get up and I weigh myself, and there are some days, throughout this process, I'd be like, what the heck happened here,
yeah,
and my first thought is, oh my gosh, I didn't eat much yesterday. What is the big deal? And going through all this, where did I gain this weight? But then it lasts just a few seconds, and I would be like, okay, let's go back and look at what I ate. Okay, let's go back and see, did I have too many carbs? Was it too much salt? Maybe it was too much salt. Maybe it was just I didn't drink enough that day, drink enough water, I should say.
the booze wasn't enough.
But did I, it just depends. And so I could look for some trends since I log what I'm eating, and then I can look back at it and say, well, this is the trend. So then I tweak it a little bit and say, well, yesterday you had like carbs at each meal, a little bit of carbs at each meal. Maybe you should be eating carbs at each meal. It gave me that ability to do that. So I kind of have become addicted to every day on the scale, whether it's good or bad. And every morning, I have to tell you, every morning I'm stand on the scale and I'm like, I know I went up. I know I went up every single morning. That's how I feel. I was like, I went up and I went up. And then when I look, I'm like, oh, you did good, or hey, you stayed the same, or see what we can do better. So yeah, I don't let my mind take over. It wants to, because that's the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, you failed. And but then I have to pull it around and go, no, I didn't. Let's just figure this out. And it's one day and it wasn't a whole lot. So you didn't go down. You're not going to go down every day. So there's a lot of talking in my brain of trying to tell myself it's okay. It's okay, you still feel good, and we'll see how it goes, and make a difference today. Change what can you do different today, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so that's I think so. I've become addicted to every day. And we talked about this last week when Russ and I were on vacation, a week and a half ago, when we were on vacation and we drove. I did think about bringing the scale, and I thought, boy, he's going to look at me and be like, what, you know
That's
I
so
thought,
funny
okay, I can
because
live without it for a week.
I've
And
traveled with you before, and my husband,
traveling scale.
yeah,
Did
he's
you?
like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, I like wait, I like it. I like to know where I am. I like weighing in. So,
I know,
judge.
I thought about it, and I probably would the next time, but we got home like on a middle of the day one day and been gone the week. And I thought, well, I'm not getting on the scale now, because, that's a whole day of sitting in a car driving, Lord knows, so I waited to the next morning and I kept saying, how did I do? How did I do? Because traveling was another thing that you coached with me on. And I went down and I was so excited. And I was kind of squealing a little bit. And my husband's like, what is going on? I'm like, I lost weight. So um, that felt really good. And since then, here's the other good thing is since then, so it's been about a week and a half, we've been back, and I have either stayed the same or continued to go down a little bit. So it's almost like this momentum is just kind of kicked me into that. And I don't know what it was. I mean, I we couldn't really plan our food on vacation like we talked about. You told me, think about your hunger level and your satiety level instead. Where do you want to be at the hunger level? And then eat appropriately with that. And I did that. And that helped. And I've just continued. I mean, some days I don't write my prep meals down. I'll maybe write it down afterwards and stuff as I prepare for the day. But I'm always thinking, how hungry am I? Okay, the clock says noon, you know, but I'm not really hungry. I got up late, and so I'm not really hungry. So it's just I'm more geared towards that aspect of it now than the aspect of what did I plan to eat, because that's food is well addicting, but uh, for someone who deals with anxiety, having to sit and plan something out is nice. It's good, but then sometimes it can get overwhelming for you too. And so you kind of have to play that. And I think I found since vacation that aspect of think of your hunger and your satiety, and then worry about the food. And
Yes.
that's what it has really kind of helped me with this one.
Yeah, so maybe that's kind of been the shift for you in the weight continuing to go down.
I think so. I mean, that's been my mindset since vacation. I mean, I had it, before vacation, and started that during it, and that worked. I mean, on vacation you have limited access to things. Ours was a lot of driving with our vacation. We did a lot of active things, and we had food in the car because we always packed a picnic lunch. We had some little snack stuff, so there wasn't that amount of food that you go for the cravings. Then you hit the cravings, but so I was concerned when I came home, because then the kitchen's there. You open the door, the fridge, whatever, and I haven't done that. It was almost like I didn't need to do that. If I was really hungry, if I've been hungry in the afternoon, this last week and a half, I go grab, like a banana, half a banana or something. But it's not usual that I'm going to hit that hunger level that I want for dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
So So yeah, it has shifted for me since this with vacation and stuff, but you know, it's trial and error, don't you think? I mean, it's a lot of it is just getting to understand your brain, whereas before I just gave up, and now it's the process of, you know, okay, this is what's happening and this is what I need to do, and it's practicing, and to be honest with you, also listening to everybody on the coaching calls has been tremendous, because they half the time I feel like, we're all going through the same thing. So we're all, anything that comes up, we all need the coaching for everything that happens. So those are really great.
Yeah, 100%. I always tell like new people who are thinking about working in the program, like there one thing that comes up over and over is like, well, what about one-on-one coaching? I'm like, listen, I've done both. I've coached people one-on-one and I've coached in the group. The group is 10 times the results of one-on-one, because you are all going through the same thing at the same time. And it is so funny, even though everybody's on their individual journey, I feel like each week everyone is going through the same thing. I don't know how that happens, but when you have the benefit of 10 other people saying like, okay, I'm going through this, can I get coaching on this? And then someone else is like, yeah, and what about this? You get that coaching for yourself as well, as opposed to you just coming with one thing and saying like, okay, coach me on this one thing, and then we're like, okay, we're done, see you next week. You get like 10 things that you just got coached on in that one session. So it really makes everything go, you grow so much quicker, you learn so much more in that short amount of time. It's really incredible.
Totally agree. And I mean, it's like, what's not working, but I also love that you put in what is working. What's your win for the week, and that helps too, because you hear somebody's win, you go, oh, I want that win. How did they get that win? Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so that helps with that aspect of it too, to be able to listen and help each other too with it, just hearing someone say, oh, I feel the same way, is such a boost for you, as you're like, okay, I'm not alone in this, and the
Yeah.
voices are all there. Mhm.
Yeah, that's the other piece, that when we are in the diet mentality, a lot of times we feel very isolated. It's us at home trying to stick to this list of foods, and generally whatever diet we are trying to follow, if you're failing, that the mentality there is that this is your fault and you're the only one who it isn't able to succeed at this. And so we get really into our heads and we feel very alone. We feel like, I'm the problem, I'm the failure, there's something wrong with me. A lot of people I talk to are like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like, you're just like everybody else, I promise. Like every brain is
But
doing this.
that's not what the industry has taught us.
Exactly. We're sort of like trained to believe that, if the diet doesn't work, it's your problem, it's your fault. And then and I loved what you said about the scale, like using that as a tool to help you evaluate. That's something that we also miss out on in dieting, and not just from the scale perspective, but from that evaluating our failures. Like when we do fail, like let's figure out why, so we can choose not to do that anymore. We can choose this path that is working. That's what the scale allows us to do. And that's kind of the difference, or I think it's a big difference in the program that you're in, is like we use that to our advantage. We look at our failures to see what happened, what do we not want to do anymore, and we looked at our successes to see, okay, what do we want to keep doing and keep practicing and direct ourselves that way.
It's just a tool. That's what all it is. And I learned to take the good and the bad. And I prefer to see good better than the bad, but I learn from the bad. And that's the whole point of it, is you've got to learn from what you're doing and make those changes. Do I have this perfect? Boy, I hope so, but I know I don't. You know what I mean? It's like you're always gonna have a little slide, but I also feel stronger in the sense that I don't feel like I'm gonna go back to the way I was. Um, because I have a bunch more tools that have helped me to get, to say, okay, then take your little pity party for 2 to 3 days if you need to do that, okay. And then get yourself back on it and do what you need to do, kind of stuff, and deal with whatever you have to deal with, and do that. You want dessert tonight? Fine, have your dessert tonight. And this is all in my head,
Yes.
what's going to happen tomorrow, and so you get a little, and usually it's just a bite or something. And then it's like, then move on, just move on, like you said, depriving us of food has never worked for anybody trying to lose weight. It works for a period of time, but it's not reality.
Yeah.
I had 3 kids, and when they were growing up, I was cooking for 3 kids. Well, they didn't want to eat diet food with mama,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so you got to cook for them, you got to cook for yourself, so it's just my husband and I now, and he's fabulous. He's supportive. He'll eat most things, and I like to experiment with some different things, but I look at food differently too. It's like, oh, we don't fry food, we don't we tend to look at more at it differently. He just eats what I put in front of him pretty much, and that's a blessing with that. So
He makes it easy.
he does. Now the 3 kids, not that they didn't make it easy for me, it's just that they were not into the food. Mom, we need something more than just this. It's like, I understand. So
And that's, I think, the other piece of that deprivation piece is, like you said, like, not only are we not living in this perfect world where we're never going to be exposed to foods that we really want to eat, but when we go down this path of like, I have to no longer be, try to like micromanage our environment where we're not being exposed to the foods that we, can't eat anymore, air quotes, we then force our family to be a part of it as well. And so, like, when I talk to people, a lot of times, like, well, it's my weight loss isn't succeeding because my family just isn't on board to eat the foods that I need to eat, air quotes again, in order to lose weight. And it's like, but what if your family just never ever had to be on board and you just managed your mind around the
yeah.
foods, and you could just live your life in the world that we're in and not be freaking out about like trying to avoid this food all the time.
Yeah. Because you in one of our talks, it was like, if you are deprived something, that's all you're going to want. That's all you're
uh,
going to want. And I remember when it was one of the videos, and I was just like, yeah, I've lived that one. You can't have pizza. Well, that's all I want.
yeah.
And then when you have pizza, it's way too much.
Yes. Yeah.
So now when I say, oh, I'd like pizza, I'm content with a small salad and one small slice of pizza. I'm content with it because I've met that. I've had it. I didn't have to have half a pizza. I just had to have a small slice and added a little salad to the side, and that was good.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. That, like, you still, yes, all of the foods are a part of your life. You're still losing weight. You're still, you're not in a place where you feel like, you know, either can't have the pizza or you're going to overdo it on the pizza. You get to enjoy the pizza and just be like, yeah, that I feel really good. I had the pizza. I feel good. It's all
Really
good.
good. I had pizza.
I had pizza like a normal person, and it's fantastic.
I can have normal foods, yay! And I have found, and I would always feel this when I'm on a diet, but here, especially, and we didn't do a whole lot of fried foods, but I really, if we'll go out, I don't, the fried foods don't interest me. I mean, it's just because and so, but I don't miss it. And have I, Russ gets some French fries? Well, I might nab a few fries off of his plate, or he'll say, hey, you want to try this burger, a bite of burger, I might try a bite of burger too and stuff, depending on what's going on. And it's not saying that I'm sitting with a salad either. It could be, some plenty of other options, but it's still like, okay, I don't feel bad if I have that and it's not hurting me and stuff. So
Yeah. So what, tell me where the shift came in with the fried foods, like no longer being interested in that when you're eating out.
um pretty much, I mean, I think that's been for a while. Um, just because, like I said, I love to cook. And during COVID, I cooked every day.
Mhm.
And so, which I loved. And frying food is just a mess, it messes up the stove. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So, um, and it just kind of became that I liked it better without the fried foods. Now that doesn't mean I like French fries. I do like French fries. But it's like, fried chicken or frying anything up, it just doesn't taste that good to me anymore. I might have a craving for it and you get something or and they'd be like, okay, that wasn't that great. Up here is telling me it is the best thing in the world. And then you eat it, you go, yeah.
Yeah, it's that shift from like being all in your head where, and I had this experience with a very specific food where I was like, it's the best thing that I could ever possibly eat. It's so good. And when I'm all in my head thinking that, then it kind of like is, I don't really taste it. I don't really know. I have no awareness around how much I actually enjoy it. I'm just like so in this like heightened emotion of like I like desire for this food. And so I did this experiment where I kind of like slowed down and like got into like tapped into my body, which we talk a lot about in the program, is like feeling your hunger, feeling your satiety, like like actually being present when you eat the food and being present with your body. And I had like one bite and I was like, I don't even like this. Like, where did this come? Like I don't think I've
Did I
eaten.
build this up?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's that difference between uh just like you said, like it's that brain piece, like when we can understand what's going on in our brain, and that's really where this is all coming from. And it's just this part of our brain that really wants this like intense dopamine hit, and we can kind of like step outside of that and make a decision from a different part of our brain. All of a sudden it's like that doesn't really interest me anymore. I don't like fried
Yeah,
food.
but the other part is that I have something that I really, really like, you know, and then it's like you got to limit what you can eat. So yeah, being present and being and saying, okay, this is really good. I might want to do seconds, and
Mhm.
saying, where do you feel? How do you feel? What's your levels? And go from there. That's hard. That's still kind of hard.
Mhm.
But like you said, if you slow down and if I take time to think about it,
Mhm.
then I can say, you know what? There'll be leftovers and you'll have it for tomorrow. You can have a little bit, tomorrow. You're not cooking tomorrow. Leftovers day is tomorrow. You can have it then or something. And that's it's like then it's special the next day too. And I just didn't eat it all in one sitting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I just that it's still when you get that something that's really really good, and you just kind of want to keep eating it because it tasted so good. But I'm already at my level. I'm already at the point where I'm comfortable. I don't want to go any further. So then I just tell myself, well, you'll have that tomorrow, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's good. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's still a struggle for me, especially with ice cream. Ice cream is really hard that way.
Yeah. It just, you just like can keep, I mean, is that something like, cause it's like got that, it's cold, it's sweet, it doesn't like fill you up so much, maybe?
I think especially now with the weather getting warmer and ice cream is so nice, and I could eat ice cream in the coldest day of the year too. But I think it's just comforting. It's
Mm.
comforting. Um, and so it's like, and ice cream is it, like when you have family events, you have a dessert. Well, there's always ice cream with it, right? Somebody's always bringing ice cream with it. So it's like this thing. It's always been there, And I don't have it that much. I don't keep ice cream in the house because I know that that could be a problem for me. It's there, it's calling my name. It talks to me when it's in my house. So I have to leave it for special occasions. And if somebody else brought it to my house for a family event, they have to take it home with them too. Don't leave it at my house, take it home
Yeah.
with that. So, but it's those type of things to where it's like, okay, but think of it as you can have it again tomorrow. It doesn't have to be all tonight and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that in and of itself is changing our mindset. Whereas the kind of, if we are in that place of like restriction, then it's like, this is my only chance to have it, so I'm going to eat all of it. And when we get to this place where it's like, no, I'm choosing to have this and I'm going to enjoy it, then it's such a different experience to be like, and I'm done now. Like I can have it tomorrow.
and
Like,
and
yeah.
and and my brain is saying, but you want more, but you want more. So
Yes.
it's a battle. It's
Yeah.
a battle I have to walk away from and have to do something else, or I'll do what my mother always said you should do if you're hungry is go drink a glass of water. And so I would just go drink a glass of water, and it doesn't make me feel any better, but it stops the voice enough because I feel fuller, and I just go on from there and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't battle that one as much just because I don't keep it in the house. And it's
Yeah.
too much of a problem for me to say, maybe I'll go out to the store and get some ice cream tonight. That's too much of a hassle at night. So
Yeah. No special trips.
no special
Not
trips.
doing that. Yeah, and I think that piece that you're talking about, the really when that part of your brain kind of starts acting up and is like, let's just keep eating, go ahead and get some, you really want it, it's going to be so good. That's, I think, the most challenging part of weight loss and changing your brain is teaching that toddler part of your brain that you can throw this fit all you want, you're not going to get what you want. But that really means that we have to take ourselves through processing all the emotion that creates for us, which is a practice in and of itself. And it just takes practice. It's like, I say that every single probably coaching session we have, like you just have to keep practicing that. You're not going to get it the first couple of times, and sometimes you don't even recognize that it's happening. I mean, me too, still sometimes it's like I didn't even realize that that's the place that this was coming from until after the fact, and that's where evaluating comes in and is so helpful. But just being able to allow that to kind of have its talk and run its course and just sit with it and be with it and let it be there and let it kind of pass through you and move on.
Having that discussion is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not like a toddler to where, you're just trying to shush them up.
Yeah.
If I was going to do that, I'd be eating the ice cream, right?
Right.
But it's kind of dealing with the tantrum and the way that you have to, and talking it through is the way to do that. Now, my children would probably tell me I didn't handle it that way when they were growing up, when they threw tantrums.
Yeah.
But it's having that conversation, and sometimes I will talk it out loud. I think I've said that in coaching before, and others have said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like I will be talking out loud and I'll hear from the other room, are you talking to me? I'm like, no, I'm not talking to you. He goes, I never know who you're talking to. I'm like, I know. It's either the dogs, it's either you, it's either me, you never know. So
Talk to somebody. We don't know. The voice in my head.
I know who I'm talking to, but
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
it's all good.
Any other wisdom that you want to share with the listeners?
Um, I feel like, I feel like I've been in a good place, which is exciting. I also know that that place can change on a dime. It's a process still. I know that I feel like I'm doing really well, and I am, and I'm proud of myself for that. Um, and I know I will have bad days. That's the thing. I know I will have bad days, and I will have them the rest of my life. But I'd rather have more good days than bad days. So accept the bad days are going to come and deal with them, handle them, and not have anxiety over them. That's what I don't want to have, is anxiety of, oh my gosh, I had a glass of wine, who cares? I had a glass of wine, and and I went on, and I survived. So maybe I gained a little weight, not because of the glass of wine. One glass of wine is not going to get me to gain a half a pound, right? It's other things that I did, or it's the body doing whatever it has to do. I have to understand that. So, but my goal for this is to be happy in who I am, and that's at whatever weight. And I sometimes get jealous of some of these younger women, 20-year-olds that are just comfortable no matter what their body looks like. And I never was, never, and still am not. And so, I'm jealous of that fact that they're comfortable in their bodies. So I want to be comfortable in that no matter what weight I am. I think when we first met, I said, I will accept whatever weight loss that I'm supposed to have, because I figure my body will tell me, no, this is right where you need to be, kind of thing. My main concern right now is am I doing the right things to make sure my blood work comes back good, in the areas that we're a little concerned with. And it's not a big concern, but it's a trend. And we don't want to, working with my doctor on that, we don't want to get to a point where it can be an issue, so yeah, lots of rambling there, but just I know that I'm on a good path, and the path will take me where it needs to take me, and I have to learn from each twist and turn that it takes me into. That's my goal.
Yeah. And you've done such a beautiful job of that. You really have.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I appreciate your help, and everybody else that in the group that comes on the calls, because we formed this little bond. Sometimes when someone's not there, it's like, oh, where is she? Is she okay?
Yeah.
Or it's kind of, and though we've never met in person,
Yeah.
it's just you feel like you're starting to form this little family, and new people come in, you're like, oh, welcome to the family, kind of a thing. And it's kind of a nice thing to have.
Yeah. We all get so excited when somebody new comes. We're like, hey.
Face, yay.
Yes. Yeah, it is. I really like, I think it's the best part of the whole program is the group coaching and this relationship that we've all built together, where we all support each other. We're all like, we all hold the space for each other, where we're like offering compassion and love and support to each person who's going through their own journey, no matter what that is, and really wanting everyone to succeed. There's no like competition or, what am I trying to say? Tearing down.
It's only love and support.
It's all support and just like, you got this, like let's do it's so fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great group, and I enjoy meeting the new people. I think if we ever met face to face, if you ever got us together face to face, it would be like this great big family reunion. Everybody be
Yes.
hugging. It would
Yeah.
be just like, oh my gosh, look at you, and it'd be all this positive support, and it's wonderful. So
Yes.
um
Yeah.
fingers crossed we'll be able to do that someday, right?
We definitely will. This has been we're at what? Early June right now, and it's getting crazy and crazier. But I think in the fall, fingers crossed, we're gonna do like a nice group. I want to get everybody together. I wanna meet everybody as well, and I want us all to just come together. And yeah, I'm really excited as well.
Well, if not this year, next year, we'll you figure out what's best with the schedules and things. But I just know that I know everybody would be excited to do that, and it would be great to have more people on the call. If schedules worked out, just because of the benefits of it. Going through it by yourself is never. I mean, and there's been obviously other programs that say, oh yeah, you have meetings and things like that, but it's different with this one. It's very supportive, and and we still feel like we're all connected. It isn't like, well, you're just sitting in a meeting to be sitting in a meeting. We're connected to what we're, each other with this. And it doesn't take long. Once you start the group calls, it doesn't take long to feel like, because somebody say, how'd that go last week? Was that good?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. We all like remember like what each of us is going through each week throughout and we're all checking in, and I love it so much.
Mm.
It's so
Yeah.
fantastic. Well,
Well, I
Julie,
could ramble on forever.
I know I could too. We could talk about all of these things for a long time, but thank you so much for coming on. I so appreciate your time and just lending your experience, your like wisdom to everybody out there. And thank
I
you.
don't know if I have wisdom. I just have my journey, and and I'm happy to share it. A little nervous. Was a little nervous because I'm usually not used to this aspect of thing. Talking about and it's personal. Your weight is a personal thing, and so like but it was all good. So thanks for asking me.
Oh my gosh, of course. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you absolutely have wisdom. You've built it up, in this journey of yours, and that is where you are in your journey is where someone else is trying to get. So you're able to share like this is what I did to get here.
Yeah, and hopefully it helps someone else. Because all others have helped me. And listening to their stories. So
Yeah, 100%. Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It was so great talking to you, and we'll see you on the next coaching call.
yeah, it's always good talking to you.
All
See ya.
right. Bye.
Thanks.